It's an honor to be here with everyone today or this evening. Simon was my first trainer with NLP. So it's so great to be here. And yes, I can go through all the emotions. I've been through a lot of things, maybe not all the things, but many things. But I've been an entrepreneur for, gosh, over 18 years. And when he asked me what topic that I wanted to bring and I'm really passionate about is I'm really passionate about leading with power and joy and healing hidden traumas in authentic leadership. Myself, to give you a little bit about my background. Again, I've been an entrepreneur for over 18 years. My first business was a hair salon. I was a master certified hair colorist working in a very dysfunctional business, making a six-figure income. And I thought, if this guy can own a business, so can I. And I quickly realized after I bought the business, I had no idea how to run a business, and I lost my six-figure income. And I was a big hot mess crying. And that's actually how I was introduced to the coaching industry. I hired my first coach back in 2005. And by working with this coach, I've completely transformed my business. I started growing it by 30, 50%. And I got my six-figure paycheck and I could lead a team meeting without crying, which was pretty cool. And then I was so inspired by having a coach and how it changed my life that I then decided to become a coach. So I started going through a journey. And then in 2010, before becoming certified as a coach, I found myself going through a really nasty divorce that took over 2 years. And I had met a master coach with the International Coaching Federation. And I was a crying hot mess. And I said to her, I just want to become a life coach. And she I feel like it was the biggest hot mess of my life. And she said, well, there's this program that's going to be starting in Chicago next month. And I didn't even know what it was about, but I signed up. So if anyone ever says, I need to get my life together before becoming a coach, I say there's no better time to become a coach. And so that was my first step in the coaching industry. And I was a really high performer. I was a really great coachee, like being coached. I was always hitting my goals. My salon was award winning, and but I had always found that there was something missing in my coaching and even being in therapy. My mind was always on negative thinking. I couldn't get it off. No matter how many times I said affirmations, nothing would work. I was one of the biggest reasons that my salon was so successful is because it had really strong policies and procedures in place. So I really leaned on that stuff. And I hid my negative emotions and my guilt and my shame about things that had happened in my life really, really well. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about supporting business owners to heal their inner child and heal their inner wounds is because I love statistics, and 81% of business owners hide their mental health issues. They're struggling with mental health issues and then they're hiding it really well because that was me. And then during that process, when I finally got divorced, I found myself, and you're all free and clear of this, but I found myself going through breast cancer for the first time. And that was a pretty big struggle. Um, and then after that, after going through and healing myself through breast cancer, then I found myself in $1.3 million of personal debt. And I just didn't know what I didn't know because my ex-husband was a drug addict. So I so then I decided to file bankruptcy, which threw me into massive survival mode. I called 2019 the dark night of the soul year. I was actually at a point in my life where I actually was questioning, like, what's the point of anything? And coming out of that, I finally was getting myself together, was got a therapist, was hired a coach, and I have made a powerful decision to part ways with the salon and sell it, to put my needs in front of everybody else's. Because at the time I was really being driven by guilt and shame and fear and my ego and all the things. And that happened. And after I sold the salon, then the pandemic happened. And the person that introduced me to my first coach training program, she had always said something like, and I'm a master of NLP. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I was like, I don't even know what NLP means. But I looked up to her and I had found the course that Simon taught, and they had said, you're going to be learning NLP and you're also going to learn timeline therapy and hypnosis. And at the time, I was like, hypnosis? That sounds really weird, but okay, I'll learn it anyway. So I was definitely one of those people at the time that, what you see in the movies, I thought that's what it was, but it's so not, as you know. And I just felt like for some reason this was going to be the thing. I used to have this running joke, which you're all free and clear of. I had a running joke that I would say, I sometimes wish I could get a lobotomy because I cannot disconnect from my negative emotions and my negative thoughts. Like it would just be ruminating over and over and over again. And I just had this intuition that I was going to take this training, that my life was going to change. Like my flip was going to flip up and it was going to actually stay up. And I was halfway through my program. And all of a sudden I was like thinking, oh my gosh, am I not mad at that anymore? Does that not bother me? Do I not believe that? And I knew in my heart, like that was one of my callings in life, was to be a trainer of NLP. And I talked to Simon, I like said, I need to meet with you. How do I become a trainer of this work? Because this is now my life's calling. So he shared with me the pathway to go. I had the most quantum leap I think I've ever had in my life. I graduated that program. A few months later, I got my master's certifications. Then I got my board certified certifications. And with all in 6 months, I launched my own academy, which was pretty cool. So that happened that fast. And then I started to do, I was doing my own inner work. So now I'm using these tools. My life is amazing. And now I'm walking into 2000. So that was in 2000 and what year is this now? We're in 2025. So now in 2022, I'm walking into 2022, just launched my brand new company. And then you're all free and clear of this as well. I get re-diagnosed with breast cancer for a second time. So I'm a very firm believer, and I always say everyone needs to do do your own homework, because I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. But I believe that the mind and body are really connected, and the levels of stress, anxiety someone can experience impacts their health. My personal belief system is that I experienced breast cancer twice from traumatic experiences. And what I will also share is, because I know all these tools and I implement them in my life and I train other people in them and use them on the daily. When I did step into 2022, going through surgery again, radiation treatment, chemotherapy, thinking that I was like, I just launched a brand new company. I'm left to my own devices. I worked 50% less that year, and I made like over a six-figure income, and I had like the most emotionally healthy year I ever had in my life. So with that being said, I am so passionate about NLP. I want to say, sometimes I say it saved my life, but it literally transformed and changed my life. It's one of the most amazing tools I think I've ever put in my toolbox. And I'm super committed. I want the whole world to learn NLP. I feel like this world will just be so much a better place. And also my topic is, yes, healing hidden trauma in leadership. Because again, I love statistics. 81% of small business owners and entrepreneurs and leaders have mental health issues and they're suffering silently. It's pretty crazy. And I just did a workshop the other week and I had 5 salon owners in my workshop and I gave them that statistic. And they said to me, we cannot believe it's not higher. That's pretty wild. They're thinking that it's probably higher than 81%. So I guess that 19%, I don't know, were they also hiding what they really feel? So I'm really committed to that. So with these tools, I like to look at, like, even with trauma, like some people might not even be realizing that they're going through trauma as an owner or they've experienced it. But like trauma doesn't have to necessarily be these like tragic events. Like you're all free and clear of this, but you don't have to have breast cancer. You don't have to have bankruptcy. Trauma for a business owner could be that, they had a huge financial setback. It could be that they had an employee walkout. There could just be like little things that happen over and over and over again. And then when that trauma starts impacting them, it could start impacting them um, on major decisions that they have to make, trust issues. They feel like they have to do everything, you know, they have to be the ones doing everything. They're not delegating things. They're working 24/7, sleepless nights, not being able to go on vacation, and they're attached to their phones. That used to be me. Being really emotionally reactive to their team. So those are how things can show up as an owner and how it impacts them leading their team. I know we've even talked to other consultants that 'cause I work a lot in the salon industry that do consulting work, and they're sharing with me, they're like, I'm having a hard time getting my clients to implement the systems that I'm teaching them because all of their emotions and their limiting beliefs are getting in their way of implementing them. So I'm like, again, I'm really passionate about bringing this work to business owners so that they can shift and do their own inner healing work. And that is just a catalyst on every employee they touch, every customer they touch, and everyone in the world. So they're going to be healing. So some of my favorite tools that, that I like to use with my clients are definitely like quantum releases, or if people have heard timeline therapy, and I do mix them a lot with other modalities. I know Deborah had, she was talking about, I don't specifically know what she does, but I do bring in other things as well, like whether it's energy work or somatic coaching or some breath work to ground my clients. Um, those are some tools that I love. I love using reframing. I'm always telling my clients, I'm like, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I tell them all, I say one of the presuppositions that I live by is there's no failure, or there's no failure, there's only feedback. And another way I like to say it too is either you're winning or you're learning. So my magic formula for that, and this is what I share with my students and my clients, is that, breakdowns are going to happen. It's life. And how are we going to move past them quicker, sooner, faster? So I say, all right, so when a breakdown happens, how are we going to acknowledge it? What are we learning? I say processing through emotions is healthy. We have to have all ranges of emotion. So even when I clear my client, like I do all the major emotional clearings with my clients, I say, look, you may get angry, but just notice that your anger may last only like 1 or 2 minutes. So I really believe that it's very healthy to process through all major emotions. You just get to move through them quicker, sooner, faster, and be in the higher frequency ones. So so then again, my magic formula is, all right, what happened? Where am I processing my emotions? What am I learning? How do I want to acknowledge myself? And then where am I going to pivot and then get into inspired action? So that's how I use NLP on the daily. So I like to use anchoring techniques to help my client be a cause for their state versus their state being in control of them. So those are some of the things I love using NLP tools with when I'm helping my clients move through traumatic events. And another thing I love is I'm really committed that the world accept NLP more as a healing tool. And I never say I heal my clients. I say I'm a catalyst for my clients to heal themselves because I believe these modalities can help do people have that inner child work so that they can heal quicker, sooner, faster. I worked with a woman, a business owner, and I did an 8-hour breakthrough session with her. And she also experienced a lot of sexual trauma in her life. And I was at a conference and I was speaking to somebody else. And this woman that I worked with walked up to us and said to her, "You need to work with Brigette because her 8-hour breakthrough session doesn't even compare to years of therapy." So I feel like that speaks volumes to itself. So this work can help get people get fast, quick results. That could be like quantum leap. I like to have fun. I tell all my clients, I'm like, guess what? We're going to laugh while we're doing this work because laughter is healing. This is my passion about bringing healing work to whether it's, business owners or parents or employees or whoever it is. I just firmly believe that NLP is a huge catalyst for the world to heal. And I believe that the world needs healing more than ever, especially what's going on right now.